Watch.
Put on vibrate.
Wait a minute, I'm muted. What's going on, everyone? I am so excited that you all are here with us for the next installment of our Single with Intent, the female perspective. I'm so excited to have all of my friends here with us. Last month, you heard from the men. Now it's time to hear from the women. I'm so excited that you all are going to join us today. We have great content. We have so much that we want to talk about. So let me just introduce you to my lovely panel. What's up, everyone? Everyone, unmute yourself. Do me a favor. Take a moment and like, click, and share. We want everyone to like, click, share on Facebook if you can. If you're on now, listen, like, click, share. So we're so excited to be here. Like I said, we have so much we want to talk about. I know you noticed there is a little bit of a change. You don't see my colorful co-host, Ted, but we have the quiet storm today. So, Henry, do you want to say what's up to everyone real quick?
Well, hello. Well, I love that name. I mean, I got to put that on the shirt, like you. I like your shirt. Maybe you can make me a shirt that says "Quiet Storm" next time. That'd be
I
nice.
will do it. Hashtag why, hashtag quiet storm.
hmm
So you want to introduce yourself? You want to say what's up to the people? How did you like the men's panel last time?
the men panel you said?
Yeah,
The men panel was amazing. I mean, he's got to meet with the guys, got to really share perspective and really show what we're, just our thoughts and where we were coming from, and and I think it was enlightening for for a lot of people. So now I'm just like, I just can't wait to see the reverse of that. Wait and see what the ladies have to say, from their point of view.
absolutely. I'm so excited that we're getting ready to have this great conversation. So, a couple of things. I want to first say thank you to everyone that's on. Thank you to everyone that's viewing. Thank you to everyone that's like, click, and sharing. We really appreciate you for being on. Remember to add your comments to, if you have any comments, if you have anything that you want to say or add, pop it into the comments, and then we will definitely make sure that they get into our questions, and we'll definitely talk about it. So the purpose of the event, a lot of people always ask me, and if you followed our first two panels, you'll know the purpose of this event is single with intent. What does that mean? We are single with purpose, right? So you're single, but there's always intentionality in your singleness. And everyone who's single has a different space in their life, and they're in a different phase of life. So our different panelists on here, they're coming from a different perspective, but all of them have had purpose, except for Lauren, who is married. She is the wife of Tyree, who was on our male panel, but she has a different perspective to give as well. Quick housekeeping rules. Let's just be respectful of everyone. That's all I ask. Let's just be respectful. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, like I always say, let's get into it. So, lovely panelist, Candace, you want to tell us your status? That's what we talk about first.
Hey.
Your status.
Candace. Yep. I have been divorced for several years and I'm currently single.
Nice. Single and divorced, single and looking though. Divorced, single, looking. Is that what you're doing? We're not looking for someone, but you're interested in being in
I'm
a relationship.
open.
Open.
Yeah. I'm open. Yeah.
Awesome. So now we have Gail, who's on the panel. Candace and Gail are both new to the panel this time. Gail, what's your status?
I am single, but I am in a relationship, so not on the market to date.
Okay. Lauren, your status?
Hi, everyone. I am married. December will be 21 years.
21 years. That's a long time.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
long time. But that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Deandra? What's your status, Deandra? You're muted, sis. You're muted, Deandra.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I'm single.
Okay, single and open and looking, searching, hoping. Where we at? So she thinks she's single and searching. So, or waiting, single and waiting. It's Deandra. Kaz, what about you?
Hey everyone, I am still single and in a relationship.
There we go. And we know that Henry is single and searching. And from the last panel, I think he's still single and searching. Right?
Double S.
He's double S. He's double Superman on his chest. So this time I don't have Ted to get on me, but I'll give my status. Me, myself, and I. That's all I got in the end. That's where I'm at. I'm single, but I'm dating. Single, dating, and open. So what we wanted to do, sort of similar to what we did with the male panel the last time, before we can really talk about what it is to have a female perspective in relationships, we want to lay a good foundation, right? So before we can talk about the female perspective, we have to talk about what does it mean to be a female? Like, what is the essence of a woman? What does that mean? What does that mean for relationships? What does that mean for just what does that translate to into a relationship? So my lovely co-host here, Henry, he's going to lead the discussion in here. I'm going to stay in, pop out, but he's going to have some conversations with us. He's going to talk to the ladies. So Henry, I'm going to give you this space to take it away.
Well, thank you. Well, I just want to say, ladies, that I'm so excited to be part of this special event that's going on. It's amazing. I know you ladies couldn't sleep last night because you was thinking, man, I can't wait till tomorrow so I can let everybody know how I feel. But I know, I could tell. I could see everybody smiling. They look so vibrant. Everybody looks beautiful. So that's a really good thing. So I have kind of a two-part question, basically. So basically, I just want to know, what does it mean to be a female, as well as what do you love about being a woman, right? So it's what does it mean to be a female, and what do you love about being a woman? So anybody can jump in there. I just want to get it going and see what you guys think about that.
So I'll jump right in.
Okay.
I think being a female or being a woman means to be strong, to be gracious, to have grace, to carry wisdom, to be delicate, right? Delicate and fragile in a sense, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. And I think, and I'll just answer the second part of that question, that's actually one of the things that I love about being a woman that we're in our own lane. We don't have to compete with men. We are exactly what I said. We are strong. We carry wisdom. We carry grace. And because we're fragile, you know, men have to be careful with us. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I love that about being a woman.
Okay. Anybody else? That's really good stuff. I mean, the fact that you said you're fragile, and that's not a bad thing. Yes, like I said, because you know, it means like I take it like as being like almost vulnerable, allowing yourself, right, or just kind of knowing. It's for men to know, like, and I think sometimes a woman should, you know, you kind of let men know how to treat you. Like I've always said that, like in general, not even a woman and man, but I feel like in general in life, you tell people how you want to be treated. You know, you basically you show them, like if you let them do what they want, then that's what they will continue to do. So those are all really good answers. I like that. What about, I don't know, Lauren, Gail? What do you guys think about that? Like to be a female or a woman?
Well, I'll jump in and I'll piggyback a little bit, but I'll also add to definitely the strength of a woman. There's none like it. Like, and it's nothing to compare to a man's strength, because it's a whole nother type of strength that we bring. Also what we're able to do. So we're multipliers, and only women are able to multiply. And this is what we do by nature. So I love that about just being a woman. I mean, I can go on, but
I know that's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Cassandra and Lauren said. I was thinking, you know, when I think about what it means to be a woman, I think it's always changing for me as I change and as I get older. But I definitely think, you know, there's strength in being a woman. Women are natural teachers. Women are natural builders. You know, women are natural nurturers. And I think that, you know, without women, this world ceases to exist. So I think also women are mysterious to a certain extent. And it depends on, you know, if you're in a relationship, it depends on, you know, each individual to determine what that mystery in that woman is.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I like those. Those good answers. Okay, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you guys, ladies, you covered it all. I agree. I was gonna say nurturer. That's one of the things I love about being a woman, is that we are nurturers, but then we also can be like the backbones and holding everything up. So we can strike that balance between being delicate, but then if need be, we can also be strong as well.
Okay. I like those good answers. So now we'll kind of ask the next thing. So how does this translate into like a relationship? Like, you know, you said a lot of things were strong. Basically, you can be nurturers as well as, you know, your receivers, all this beautiful things. Like, but how do you think this translate into like a relationship?
Well, because we're able to add. We're able to add to, as a woman, we're able to add to any man's life in a relationship. And part of our job is to not only to add, but to bring out whoever it is that he is, to support that and to bring that out. So we have that magic touch, you say, like, you know, to do that.
You do.
No, I think that's important in a relationship. It's not like we just strong out here. No, we're strong for a reason.
Right.
And pulling out, and that's what we do.
Wow.
Right. And I think it's so important as women to understand that we are all of those things, and it helps us in a relationship, like we were saying already, to be that help or to add to a man, to add in a relationship.
Okay. That's true. It's a good backbone, and that's so. What do you think, Gail? You agree with that? I mean, pretty much. You're probably hitting on the same things, but
Yeah,
you pretty much agree with what they're saying.
I mean, it goes in line with, you know, when you give a woman something, she'll build upon it. And, you know, if you're in a relationship and you're, you know, I personally think you should be building together. You should be growing towards something together. And, you know, two pieces come together and make it work.
I mean, because women are just, and like you guys hit it, this is strong, and just the thing that God has just blessed women with, not to mention that they just have the ability, the power to just stop anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just just the strongness, and it's just everything that women, basically represents is what, sometimes you're able to tell like how it's good to have like a kid, and when you teach them how to grow up and become a man, and good to have a father, but a woman, it's something about a woman that's just like no man, we just don't have it. It's just point blank. It just don't have it. So like I was saying before, so we all bring different things to a relationship. I would say a good man would probably bring support, safety, security in a relationship. Probably similar to what we were talking about a minute ago. But what do some things that women bring to a relationship?
I think our communication skills
Oh boy, yeah, we back.
are a plus. Sometimes it's seen as a bad thing, but but I mean, in general, I think women are better communicators than men.
That's
so it's like I said, sometimes it's seen as good, sometimes it's seen as bad. But I think that's definitely something that all women bring, is that we are going to put some things on the table. Now, the way that we put them on the table and the way we communicate is going to vary, but the communication skills that we bring, I think, is definitely a plus in relationships.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I think for me, what women bring to the table in a relationship is there are, like the man is the head, right? And I think I said this in our meet and greet. He's the head and he leads the family. But a lot of times what we do in the background is we help to build what he's putting together, So he has a vision and we have the strategy a lot of times. We're the ones that saying, all right, babe, you got this, get ahead, you rocking, I got you. So here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to, bring this together. So I think we do that too. Like we are kind of like the gel. And a lot of times you hear like the women are the gel that holds the family together. So I think we do well at that as well.
That's true. But I think the fact that you said that women are able to like orchestrate everything, like they're able to do that and kind of run the show. But I think the hidden jewel is that some women haven't learned yet. I'm going to drop that for free and not charging anybody. Is that you have to make a man feel like, at least make him feel like it's his idea. You know what I mean? At least, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, and I know it's probably like, okay, why do I have to do that? But sometimes with men, like even if they going in that the right direction or whatever, you have to make them feel like, okay, you were right, baby. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Or just at least make it, I see that hand coming up. but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that will help a relationship. I mean, I'm being controversial now, but go ahead, jump in there.
No, I think you're 100% right. The way you're saying it, but I think you're 100% right. Like, okay, so we have this like that's called wisdom. Right. So we have this, I like to call it this inner intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead with that idea, even though in our minds, we already know this is a disaster waiting to happen.
You see?
But on the back end, we already got a solution for what's about to happen anyways. Mm-hmm. So that's our inner intelligence. That's our wisdom. So we're not taking anything away from you feeling like a man or being a man, but we're there to support you. Like, no, look, we got this. Why? Because I already worked out a plan on the back end, but I never tell you I told you so. It didn't work. What did you do? Never do that.
Right. I agree. See, that's 21 years of marriage right there. So you already got this down.
That's like knowledge and now wisdom.
Right.
So it's like trial and error. Like at first it wasn't like that. It was like I got this. I'm gonna do this. Because that's how I started. I was very headstrong. Like, I'm gonna do this. I know what to do. But then I had to fall back. Like, sis, you might need to let him be a man. Like, and we're growing with this thing together. So then this is where knowledge comes in. And then now I have wisdom to now support him and say, it didn't work, but that didn't work. But let's try it this way. And then it's more accepted.
See, that's definitely wisdom now, which, you kind of segue into my next thing I wanted to bring up, which is you know, there's a difference. Well, help me figure out if there's a difference. I've dated, you know, women who are, I would say, the modern day women mindset, right? And then you have, I would say, kind of like the old school or traditional mindset. Neither doesn't mean like age, so to speak, but just the mindset. Like somebody can be like an old soul, you know what I mean, or just kind of say, "I'll let the man lead," or whatever the case is. Just the mindset. But I've kind of dated both. That modern day woman, like I ain't gonna do this, we doing that, la la. I don't, you know, I don't need a man, la la, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the other one, like as you said, you know, Lauren, you was just more like that's that wisdom. So I kind of had both, and I know that which one I like better. But I mean, what do you guys think is the difference, or is there a difference between like the modern day woman, you know, like because you know there's a lot of noise with what I'm not going to do. This is not the 1970s, 1980s, you know what I mean? But do you think there's a difference between the modern day woman and to kind of like the old school traditional mindset of, you know, maybe I'll take care of my man, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll cook for him sometimes, maybe I'll do that. You think there's a difference, guys, between the two?
I mean, me personally, I think there's a hybrid. Because I know, you know, some guys may think, oh, well, a modern day woman might not cook, but
it's true.
All my friends are modern day women and they all cook. So I think, you know, we kind of got to rework our assumptions about who we think a modern day woman is. A modern day woman can be many things, but she can also be a woman who embraces traditional values.
Right. I agree. I do feel like there is a difference between the old school mindset and the new school mindset. And I think that's what it is. It's a mindset with the younger generation now. I do feel like it depends. I think, and some people will probably get me for this, that's fine. You have the millennials, and then you have the ones that are in the older, who are a little bit above, you know, 30, mid-30s, who think differently. I think it changes, your perspective changes as you kind of grow. So when you're younger, you're thinking, I can do whatever I want to do. I don't need whatever. And, you know, I'm not cooking for him. He can pick his own stuff up. Some people might have that personality and that thought process. And then as you get older, you start to realize that it's a partnership. So we're doing this together. Or you start to realize, you know, I did see my mom do this for my dad. Or I did see, you know, this is how they worked out in their relationship. Maybe that's what a relationship is supposed to look like. So you do have the modern, there are some gender roles, and we'll get into that a little later, that are old school, new school, but you do have, I think it all comes with the stages that you are in life. So, and then I think it also has to do with your character. If you're very strong-minded and strong-willed like I am, you know, Lauren told me that about a week and a half ago. She was like, maybe it needs to be a little softer. But there is, just a tiny bit. But that is a thing, right? So you have to, sometimes you have to think about your character and who you are, and like, you know what, I don't have to be this person in the relationship. And I think that also kind of changes as you go on. So that's just my perspective. I think there is a difference, but I think it's like a phase, and then you kind of phase back to, maybe I am the modern, you know, the old school values that I kind of bring back into the relationship.
Which is nothing wrong with it, just from a male perspective, like it's just being vulnerable. Obviously, make sure it's the right guy, because some guys, you know, you can do all this stuff, and you know, it's you do all this stuff for guys, and you're like, wait a minute, he doesn't even deserve this. You know what I mean? But if you feel like it's a good guy and he deserves it, it's nothing wrong. In my opinion, I'm biased, obviously. I'm talking for the fellas, but I don't feel like there's nothing wrong. What you say?
You guys, let's talk about it.
I know. I ain't got no help. But
can I ask a question?
Yeah,
sure.
Ken's on. I see Ken on. So he's here.
That's right. Ken is
there.
So, okay. So are we talking in the sense of like I'm dating someone and I'm cooking for them? Because then you're stepping into wife roles or not. Okay. Don't kill me.
Wifey roles. You gotta show. You have to show. You have to you know, kind of show what you have, like a little bit, like you know what I mean?
Listen, it's nothing wrong to
a little bit.
Listen, the ladies will agree with me. You know, we know how to cook up a meal, right, ladies?
Yeah.
Okay, for most
or learning.
But at the same time, I mean, I hear what you're saying, like doing a little bit of that, but what is it that the men do, like to show us what you do? Like, I gotta cook a meal to show you that I can be a wife?
Not just a meal. See, don't say it like that. That doesn't sound right.
I
It
don't
was
know.
important to you because you have mentioned the meal every time you and I speak.
Well, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Okay.
He just wants a meal.
Listen,
You get to a certain
he
level.
wants a woman who is going to cook for him. He's serious about that.
I think maybe if you get to I mean, ladies, if you disagree or agree, if you agree, back me up. But once you get to a certain level in that relationship, just we ain't gonna be out here just cooking up, you know, just so you know I can prove to you that I can be a wife.
Right. So I mean,
I don't think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so now you know you're 21 years in. Would you say that you felt almost like, you know, like you were getting that early on in your years of marriage, kind of like, hey, babe, I want you to do more of this. I want you to do more of that. Like, do you felt like you got that, you know, early on in your marriage? You saw some of that coming from Tyreek, like early on a little bit.
Well, I was 20 when I got married, so a lot of things that when I came into the marriage, I learned from both parents. So I had this headstrong way from my dad, but I saw my mother cook and clean, but my father also cooked and cleaned.
Right.
So it was just expected. And then in his household, his dad did a lot of the cooking.
Right.
So it was like, you know, it was just something we never kind of bumped heads in that area. Now, I had to brush up on my cooking at first. But you know, it was a lot of things that I did in my marriage early on. I learned from just being in my, you know, growing up in my household. So some things rolled over, but some things I learned how to fall back on.
Right.
I'm like, this is not going to work with him.
Okay, I got you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like cooking. It can just be anything from like old school. Like I think about my mother. I think about the stuff that she still does for my dad, like the clothes and different stuff. You know, like I mean, get his clothes or fix his food or just different things. Like I said, it's not necessarily a maid, you know, but you know, I know times have changed.
Right. And then you have to also look at the individual. If she did not see that growing up, like,
very true.
You know, I mean, if she didn't see that growing up, it's just something that may not be in her to do, like just because she didn't see that. Like, you know what I mean?
Good point. Good point. Okay, well let me.
Candace, let me ask you a question. So, did you feel the same way when you initially when you first got married? Did you feel like you had to show, you had to prove yourself that you were supposed to, you know, I can do these things, and that's why you're marrying me? Candace?
No, young. Yeah, we were both young, so I don't know that we went in with any sort of expectations like that. But once again, it's something that I saw. So I saw my mom would cook and clean, so I would cook and clean. So that's just something that I had done in the process as I had gotten older. But I don't think, well, at least for us, for me, it was not an expectation that, you know, you're the woman, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to take care of the child, and I'm going out to work, and this is what you're supposed to do at the house. So for us, no, it wasn't. There wasn't any sort of expectation like that.
Okay.
What about DeAndre? I know we're having a little bit of technical issues with D. Do you have a perspective on that, on you know, modern day versus the now woman?
I don't know if she can hear us.
I don't think she can hear us. DeAndre, can you hear us? She's having some technical difficulties, but we're going to get her all straightened out, and she's going to be back in our lives very soon.
Okay.
So she's working on her Wi-Fi. We've been having technical issues all day, so I don't know what happened. But
yeah, so
okay.
Well, maybe I'll move on to, you know, what about the expectation of a woman in a relationship? Did anybody want to say something? Gail, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
The expectation.
Well, I mean, no. Well, let me throw something out there. Just, I mean, as far as the whole modern day thing, you good with that whole thing, right? I didn't upset you, right? We good, right?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I agree with you know, what was said. I think people do what they either do what they saw or they don't do what they saw, depending on how they felt about it.
Okay. Well, I'll move on. So, speaking from past experience, I would say, and in different conversations with other guys, you know, I had probably, I would say, basically, there were some misconceptions that men have about women, and one will probably be, you know, a misconception. I'll name a few. One will probably be women like to argue, right? That would be one. Not to say it's true, but that would be probably something that the guys, if I'm hanging with the guys, they probably would bring that up. Or something else I probably would say, they would probably say that no matter how much money you have, or I should say, let me phrase it this way: if you got at least Rick Ross money, Maybach Music money, you can get any girl you want, don't matter who it is. And those are just like some of like
the misconception is that women are gold diggers. Is what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I just saying what
you just said.
Maybe
if you are, you said you heard, but you just said if you got coins, you can get the chick. That's what you just said, which means that the chick only wants you because you got the coin.
That could be a misconception or a belief. I like to think some of it could be true. It's not every woman. I didn't say every woman. There's some. There's some, and I would like to ask you guys, what are some misconceptions or beliefs that you think men have, like similar, like I just mentioned, have about women? So that men have about women.
That women are gold diggers.
Just basing it on the misconception of you and the guys. So since you threw that example out there, because you know we got our coins too, so it's like
very true.
You know, so you do have those women who are, you know, that's their focus, but a lot of women out here are getting it for themselves, and that's a misconception because we also know that all that glitters is not gold either. So, you know, you can have a Maybach, but what's going on up here? What's going on in here? You know, that's important.
That's most important. See, the age I am now, much older, obviously I realize that, but there are still, you know, I'm from a female perspective, I should say, talking about females, some guys still see it. And there's, like I said, there's many other misconceptions, but I just threw out two. But some guys still see it with those things. But so what do you think about that, Candace? You the whole, you know, gold digger thing, you know?
I agree. Like, if we have our own, then there's no need. Now, there's a difference between saying I need someone who's financially stable and saying I need someone who's bringing in $500,000 a year and has to have this type of car and this type of house. There's a difference between those two things. But I mean, if we're real, there are women who are gold diggers. But I think to say that, you know, most women are gold diggers, that's false. Also, to piggyback on what you said about women liking to argue. I think that gets mistaken for when we're passionate about something, or if we bring something up that needs to be corrected, that's not arguing. This is on my mind. I feel strongly enough that I need to say something about it. But I agree with you. I think that most men think that women do like to be confrontational and argue when that's not really what it's about.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely. So I was gonna jump on what Candace was saying. I definitely think that it's not, most of the time it's not us trying to argue, but because we're so into communicating, right? Which men really aren't into. They really don't comprehend most times unless they're taught or unless they have to go through it themselves. But women love to communicate. So sometimes us communicating is a whole argument for a man. Like, he's like, we don't need to talk about that. We already talked about that. But we're like, we want to talk about it because we love to communicate. We love to speak. We love to express.
That's true.
Yes, Bella said you have gold diggers and you have gold diggers. It's up to you to what you attract. I absolutely love that. I love her. Hey, sis, girl. But that's 100%. You do have women that are gold diggers that's after the coin, and then you have women that have clear goals that they have set for themselves, and that's what they're looking to do. Lauren. So I want to get into this comment real quick. Arthur Lee says, first, the foundation of a relationship is communication. A marriage works out when both parties look on the things of each other, how they may please each other. Selflessness should not be in the place in a marriage. I absolutely agree. Lauren, I'll let you hop in on that because you were married to Candace because you were both married. Hey, Rob. Hey, Mark Anthony. Mm-hmm.
Marriage works out when both parties look.
Are you reading the question?
So yeah. Basically, he's saying like most.
Yeah, it's a long question.
It's a long one, so y'all bear with us for a second. So he's just saying the foundation of relationship is communication, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying. And he said marriages really work out when both parties look at the things of each other and know how to please each other. So basically, in Arthur, you hop in the comments and tell me if I'm saying this correctly. When both parties kind of know what the other one likes or what the other one doesn't like, and then you kind of please each other that way. It's not about being selfish; it's about being selfless.
Right. So first of all, you have communication is key. It's key in any relationship. And you're talking about a married. Okay. God. Okay. All right. I'll say it within marriage, right? So you have this marriage and you're constantly getting to know each other, So it's not a thing that ever stops, but you do kind of get the hang of who he is, and he figures out who I am after a while as well. But there's some things that you compromise with because everything is not one-sided. It's not all about me. So this is about us. So I need to be able to please you, and vice versa. So, but we need to be able to communicate that as well. Like you can't just be sitting here all in your feelings, and you haven't communicated to me why you're in your feelings or what is it that you need. But after a while, you get to know signs of, okay, I know what he needs, or I know what she needs. You know what I mean? Because we know each other now. So, yeah.
Well, good point. And I do know that it's sometimes men struggle. We have issues because sometimes when we're, dating or married, it's once said that, women all think that men understands what they're thinking. So that's probably one of the biggest things. Like, oh, well, and then it's like, well, how do you not know? The lady's like, how do you not know? You're like, wait a minute, I don't even know if you say it. So sometimes that, once again, we're going back to communication right there. So sometimes, as I would say, throwing anything out there, make sure your man knows exactly how you feeling. Like you got to tell him, baby, you did this wrong. Rather than thinking that, what he should know. Because sometimes men don't know. We don't know what you're thinking. We don't
go back to your point as
we lost our manual.
Does that go back to your point about the misconception of women always in an argument? We always want to argue.
Mm-hmm.
You were getting ready to say. So I was getting ready to say, and I'll let Gail, hop in on this as well. But I think one of the other misconceptions is that we hold everything in, right? And we don't. Oh, I have to put this up. I'm very happy to see this. So I think one of the misconceptions is that women, we hold everything in, right? And we don't really let our emotions out, or like you think what we're talking about. You thought I knew, but I didn't know. But the reality is, because you think we are argumentative, we don't know how you're going to respond. So we wait to say it when we feel like we can say what we want to say correctly. We try to not have that, combativeness with us. And I'm just going to read out what Bella says. She says, you can be a great communicator, but do you listen? I think that's very important. Mm-hmm. People communicate, people listen. Same thing with prayer. We can pray all we want, but do we listen to God when we talk to our partner? Do we listen to God? We can talk to our partner all we want, but do we listen, and are we ready to listen? So it's listen, and then do you hear? Right. I think that's great. I want you to hop in as well. Like, what do you feel about misconceptions about women?
I actually wanted to point out that somebody actually made a comment that not all women are great communicators. And I agree. I mean, everybody has to come out of their childhood, you know, with their joys and with their traumas. And I don't think anybody comes out without a little bit of trauma. So you have to factor that in. You know, if somebody isn't a good communicator, that's probably something that they learned growing up. So I think, you know, therapy is always good for people.
Absolutely, I'm here for it.
You know, and people can seek that out in whichever way that they think would work for them. But I think that, you know, you have to, you know, what Lauren said kind of spoke to me. It's kind of reading people. Sometimes people don't always know how to say what they want to say, or they don't want to upset the other person. They don't want to, you know, set something off. They just want resolution. And I think sometimes when people want resolution, they don't always go about it in a way that would bring about resolution because they don't know how to communicate effectively. So I think it is about, you know, effective communication, and also being able to read, you know, the person that read your partner, you know.
I absolutely agree. Bella also said, if communication isn't always verbal, listen to each other's body language. Agreed. So I think back to the point that you were saying, Henry, that, you know, we don't know what you're thinking, but you can also read our body language. So like, if you're like, are you upset? And I'm like, no, but you see me sitting here like this. I'm
like this.
You're just lying.
Definitely upset.
I'm trying not to be mad, but I'm like, or I'm walking around the house and I'm like slamming things down. I'm moving all to the other side of the room. You know, so you do have to read body language. That's key as well. I think also, you know, with the unrealistic expectations that men have of women, there are some real expectations that women have of men. And I think we should, this is a good segue into, let's talk about what are the real expectations? Because last time on the last panel, we heard from the men about the unrealistic expectations that women have of men, but we do have some real expectations of you that are not the false ones that we learned in the last panel. So I'm trying to get into that, you know, what are the real, and we can match it against the unrealistic ones, like, right, that we have with men versus the real one, you know? So like a real, I won't start, I feel like I always start. I'll let Cass hop in this. What is one of the real expectations that women have of men?
I think, well, let's do one real versus unreal, right? I think an unreal expectation is to expect your man to always, I want to talk finances, because finances I know has been like a topic in all of the panels, but expecting the man to always take lead.
Did we lose Cass for a second?
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we lost you for a second. I'm telling you, this technology has been like acting crazy all day today, but I'm gonna let her hop back in that in a second. So I'm gonna go to Lauren. What are some real versus not real expectations that women have of men?
I want to say what she was about to say was expecting the man to take care of everything, just because, you know, he's the man, he's the head, he's the you know, he should be the one taking care of all the bills and stuff. That it's just not realistic in these days. I'm sorry, I just got a little distracted. There are children
right next to her, so just so you know.
Yeah, they're
right next to her.
everywhere. So I think that is not a real expectation.
Agreed. Kaz, you're back, and we can get you back into what you were going to say.
He was in the groove.
But what did I miss?
All we heard was,
I was trying to back you.
I had to back you up. I thought it was good. All we heard was, let's talk finance. And then you froze.
Oh, okay. Right. So I was saying let's talk finances because the other few panels we've always talked about finances and relationships and who should do what, right? And I think a realistic expectation for a woman to have for a man is that he has the ability to provide. But I think something unrealistic would be for us to assume that he should always, you know, have the final say in finances or always have to have his stuff together in finances. Like, it's okay for you to work as a team together. It's okay for you to make decisions together. it's okay. We talked about this before also. If the woman is better at finances, even though he's providing, if that's the arrangement or that's the communication that a couple has, that he's the provider and she's a little bit better with budgeting, then maybe she can handle it. But I think it's unrealistic to think that men should make all the money, that they should, provide all the time, that they should take care of everything and make all the decisions on their own, when we're there to be the help for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Melissa says hey girl, Melissa says, be a provider and be patient. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. We want men to be providers, but we also want you to be patient with us, be patient with the relationships. I see a lot of relationships ending super quick, that people hopping in and out of relationships quick. They don't want to do the work that it takes to build a relationship, to learn someone. First of all, I think people hopping in them quick. So that's why they happen out so fast. With the exception of when things are just not good, right? But be patient and be patient with your partner, and to have goals. I agree, Mel. So you have to be patient with your partner, and you have to have goals. Set goals for your relationship. Set goals for your life. Like, I'm single, looking, or waiting for someone, but I want a life partner. I don't want someone where I'm just off doing me, he's doing him, and then we see each other when we're home. Like, nobody wants that. You want someone that you can do life, that you can do ministry with. For me, someone that you have all these goals too. I think I'll add in real quick. I think a realistic expectation is, as we do real versus not real, that, I think I said in the last panel, men don't cry, right? But a real expectation is for you don't have to shed a tear, but I need you to be vulnerable in the relationship. I need to really know if you're upset about something. I don't want you to feel like you have to have the full weight of our family or our relationship on your shoulders, and I'm just gonna sit here and like, well, figure it out and let me know when you got the plan. Mm-hmm. No, we need to do that together. And don't feel like, if you are vulnerable and you're like, babe, I messed up, or I don't know what's going on with us, or this situation's happening, I don't really know what to do, that emasculates you, because it doesn't. You're still the head of the family. You're still the head of I still look at you as the provider, but that's what the partnership in the relationship comes to. So
that's well said. I like that.
There's nothing more attractive than a man that can actually shed a tear. Not a crybaby, but a man that can shed a tear. And, it gets hard. The struggle is real. But listen, I don't need you bursting on me either. So I can't afford to sit back and let you just handle everything and let everything be on your shoulders, and you're holding all of this in. And, listen, let me carry some of it. Let me, they're there to provide, but this is a relationship. We're supposed to both be in there together. Like, let me help you.
Agreed. Gail, do you want to hop in on that, and Candace?
I agree with,
but I can't. I just want to put it up here. Y'all read this in your own time, because it's really long. Thank you so much for participating, but you want to give us one line.
On this.
Come back at it and y'all read them.
That took the whole screen.
The whole screen, Arthur. Thank you so much. Like, you were good. I'm gonna let Gail and Candace hop in that. I'm gonna dissect this comment, so y'all bear with me, and then go ahead.
Candace, you want to go ahead?
I was just gonna say I agree. I think it's a misconception to think, first off, that all men know how to be leaders. All men don't know how to lead, and
that's good.
There's some things that men are not good at, just like there's some things that women aren't good at. So if this is not your thing and you don't know how to lead in this category, shift the load to me and let me lead here. Because like we said, we don't want you to hold everything in and then you explode under the weight of the expectation that you lead and be in charge of every aspect of the relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That was a very good comment.
I like that.
Yeah. I agree with what everybody said. I do believe that still today it is a common misconception that men are expected to pay for everything, but it's 2020.
Yeah.
And things should be a partnership, and people should, respect each other's strengths. So if you're strong in one area, then, you lead in that area. And that's also, to me, that's showing vulnerability, allowing somebody to lead in an area that they may be stronger in.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Oh, thank you, Jazzy. That is my god sister / cousin / family / everything. Hey, sis. I can't wait to see you Saturday. Sorry, Friday night. But next thing. So I think those are all great, and I'll let you. I have a takeover spirit, so this is
no.
I'm just taking over. Henry, go ahead.
Team takeover.
I think that the next thing that we would literally segue into is what is the these misconceptions that we have, how do they affect your relationship? With all of the things that we've talked about, what do we think are some of the ways that this kind of affects your relationship? Lauren, and I'll let you hop in and go there.
Okay. All that experience you got.
I see. I gotta be in there like this. Okay. Okay. So it can hurt your relationship, those misconceptions, because like if you're going in with this idea that, okay, so I'm married now, and he's gonna take care of me, he's gonna take care of these bills, and it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. That can actually hurt you. Like I just said before, and we all agreed that, a man can actually burst under all of this pressure. It's a different time, and it's been a different time for a long time. And, that's why women work and we have jobs, but, we're able to multitask and we're able to do a lot of things. Not saying that the men aren't. However, we're able to work and bring things to the table also. And we're, just like, was stated before, if they're not as strong in a specific area, it's our job to help. We can be stronger in that area, and we'll help because we're making each other great. This is what we're making this relationship great. Yeah. So if this is my strength, let me carry on this strength. If that's your strength, you work on that strength. But yeah, I think that can only help. But going in with this crazy idea that unless he just got it like that, like I'm gonna be taken care of. I mean, then, hey, go ahead, take care of it, do what you do. Right. But other than that, that's just get that out.
Right. What do we think? Do we think that society plays a role in how we view relationships and how we come about with these misconceptions? And and Gail pointed out in our meeting where he said some of them are not misconceptions; they're just beliefs. And they might be true. There is a reality to a lot of them. Do we think that society plays a role in how we view our mate and how we view relationships? I'll let Kaz and Gail hop on this real quick.
So you're saying if there's a difference between how we view our mate?
Society. Do we think society plays a huge role in how we view our mate and how we view our relationships and how we respond in relationships?
Absolutely. So if, for example, I was thinking about this earlier today, but I was looking at how women, like let's say movies that cater to women, right? Or entertainment that caters to women. It's always about the damsel in distress and she finds love and this Prince Charming and he takes care of her. And I think Candace is it Candace or Lauren? Lauren was just talking about this. And for men, it's not even like their movies, things that are geared towards them isn't even about love. Like you might see love here and there in like a Spider-Man movie, it mentions Mary Jane and Peter's relationship, but let's be honest, right? Superman, Lois Lane and him, it might mention it, but that's not the whole point of the movie. But for women, what appeals to us and what we see in society is always this idea that, a man is going to come sweep you off your feet and he's going to do all these romantic things for you. And he's going to marry you and he's going to provide for you and do everything for you. Right. And you're just going to be, it's like a happily ever after kind of idea that they put into our heads since we're very, very young. And I think that that's why women, as we grow up, we desire marriage a lot earlier than a man desires marriage for himself. Mm-hmm. And so I think society does put that idea a lot of times, unless we learn to unlearn it and uproot that like thought process and that idea, we take that into our relationships, and then we suddenly think that if a man doesn't do certain things, that he doesn't love us. Or if he doesn't provide in how we saw in movies, he doesn't love us. If he doesn't bring us flowers all the time, he doesn't love us. If he doesn't, if he doesn't do what we saw in movies or what society tells us a man should do, then he doesn't necessarily love us and care for us the way that we want to be loved and cared for. So,
good points.
That's a great
point.
That was absolutely great.
I mean, we're meant to be masculine, right? They're not going to show too many, love movies, but good points. I understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we can even take it a step further. I think we train girls to be mothers. We don't train boys to be fathers. When you look at the toys that they have for children, they have dollies for, girls. They have baby doll stuff. They don't necessarily have that for little boys. I have a nephew who's 8. My daughter is 8. And the toys, I mean, drastically different. And sometimes they like the same stuff. They both like Pokemon. But, it's still drastically different. Right. And so I think it's changing, though, because I think for us growing up, we would watch Disney fairy tales, and it would very much be the Prince Charming who saves the day, and they don't get into the marriage. They just get to the wedding, and that's it. Right. But nowadays they have movies like Frozen 2 where they show the woman as a heroine and she's her own. Right. She saves herself, and she, so I think it's changing, but I think we still have to grapple with what we learned. And I think we have to decide for ourselves what does love look like for us. For me, for me growing up, there was a lot of pressure, especially in my early 20s. It's like, you got a boyfriend? You got a boyfriend? You gonna get a husband? Like, what's going on? Hurry up. And I'm like, pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Let's talk about healthy relationships and how to do that, because I don't think that was ever a conversation. So, it's there are many layers to it, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Candace? Do you think society plays a role? And does it
definitely
play a role, and does it continue to play a role? What about even with you being divorced? Do you think society says something different about you being divorced and looking for a new relationship? I just asked you like 5 questions, girl. I'm sorry.
I was like, wait, I don't know which one to answer first. But society and the role they play in relationships, especially with social media, I think definitely. Because we see the highlight reel of people's relationships, whether it's famous people or just everyday people know personally. The only time we see the negative is when something really blows up with celebrities and famous people, and then we see that play out, in the media. But I think social media definitely plays a role in how people think a relationship should be based on what we're seeing on Facebook and Instagram, what people are, the snapshots of their relationships that they're posting. As far as society playing a role in me as a divorcee, my mind's not even there. So I don't even know. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for that question, but I don't feel any pressure from society that I need to be remarried or anything like that.
Good.
No,
that's really what I was trying to
yeah.
What I was trying to get at. Yes, there's a lot of entanglement going on. We laughed about the entanglement situation with Jada, but she literally gave the right name for what it was. And I think a lot of people's eyes opened and thought about it and said, oh, is that what I've been in this whole time? Because I thought it was, I just might be entangled, we just be together, but there ain't no substance here, and there's nothing going on. So I think a lot of people, really started thinking about it. Was funny and comical, but she was truthful, and I think it was enlightening for a lot of people. Henry, I think you have something else you wanted to add.
Yeah, just a very quick, basic question, but just a real answer, like straight from the gut. Like, what are you actually looking for? Like, what do you want from a man? Like, if you
we can get there.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get there. Okay, we'll get there. Okay, I'm getting excited. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Right into
take me there.
The purpose of this whole series, and I think we've done a great job at laying the foundation of what it is to be a woman, what we expect from a man, what are some of the things that society and people say about us that are not necessarily the case, and what some of them are true. We kind of talked about, you know, being the modern woman versus, you know, the old school and the mindset. I think what we said is, you know, it's a lot of like growing that happens, you know, when you change over time. But we really want to get into now like the meat of it. Like, what is the female perspective on dating, right? So, and I know I had a list of how we were going to do it, but I want to first ask the question to all of the panelists first. What is your perspective on dating? What does dating mean to you? And I'll start with Cass. What does dating mean to you?
I think dating is like the interview stages, the getting to know them, getting to know really, I guess what. All right, let me backtrack because we spoke about this in the first panel and I wanted to bring it back. I think before dating, you should already know what you want, what you like, what you're looking for. Right. And I think during dating, that's where you're searching for that, or you're being found for that. But you're basically, as women, we're looking for that thing in the men that we're dating. So we have, and I don't, not to say list, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this later on, but I know women have lists, right? But just there's certain things that, you know, women are like, okay, this is what I desire in a man, or this is what I would settle down with. And so in your dating stages, that's basically what you're looking for. You're dating around, you're getting to know a man, you're getting to understand who he is, what makes him, what breaks him, what triggers him, things like that. And then you make up in your mind whether or not you want to continue to move forward into a commitment or into a relationship, and if you can further along the way see marriage with that person.
That's really
it's good. Okay to not see marriage with that person, just cut it off, by the way.
Yes. And I think a lot of people get stuck. I think that was a great point. A lot of people get stuck that I've been with this person for X amount of time. He's better than the last person. I don't know if there's somebody better, so let me just stick with this. Because if they're losing time, or they don't know what else is out there, or it was so hard, or there was such a long gap between, you know, the last person they dated and this particular person. So they kind of just get stuck there. And I've been there, I've done it, I've made that mistake. I looked at the desire for a relationship more than I thought about the purpose in being in a relationship in that person. Gail, I want you to go next. And I just want to to everyone that's viewing, I know DeAndre was on. She's having some Wi-Fi issues. She's trying to hop back in. She says she's so sorry. She don't know what's going on. So she's going to try to hop back in for this segment. Hopefully she will join us. If not, she says she's going to get her little fingers going and she's going to be in the comments. So she'll be there. Gail, I'll let you go next. Like, what is dating for you? Like, what is the female perspective on dating? What does dating mean?
I mean, it's definitely changed because I'm a mom. So, you know, that's a factor. But dating to me is being clear first, like Cassandra said, about what you want. Being really clear about that. I don't think you need to have, you know, a list of 500 things. Mm-hmm. But, you know, overall, like, what do you want? Where do you see yourself going, and what do you know, want in a partner to achieve your goals and your vision? Mm-hmm. But I think that, you know, it's important to be equally yoked.
Absolutely.
You have to kind of be with somebody who has similar, you know, goals and similar visions. You don't have to want the same exact thing, but, you know, you need to be with somebody who matches you, who supports your dreams and goals. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are in relationships where their dreams and goals are not supported, and they stay anyway because they don't want to be single. They don't want to be by themselves. And I think there's value in being by yourself. Yes. And being comfortable being with yourself, because how can you expect anybody else to be comfortable with you if you're not comfortable with yourself?
Right.
So, you know, those things are important. I think it's really important to, you know yourself and be comfortable with yourself, know what you're, you know, what you want and what will make you happy. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in that situation, you can't expect the other person to make you happy.
That was really good. There is definitely value. My cousin always says there's a grace that comes with being single. And there really is a grace in being single and being able to know yourself and love yourself and know your purpose and why you're here before you can be in a purposed relationship with someone else. So I think that was very well said, Gail. What about you, Candace? Like, what is dating? What is your perspective and what is dating for you?
I agree. Dating is you're getting to know somebody. I mean, and like was already said, during that process, that's when talks take place and you find out if your goals and what you want the future to be lines up with that person. And if it doesn't, if nothing else, you may have a friend, you may never see the person ever again in life, but that's the purpose of it. You're taking that time to know someone to see if you're going to go to that next level of being a mate or a partner.
I agree. That's really, really, really good. I think, dating is, first of all, I think dating now is confusing, right? And I think that there's so many levels to dating that I just don't understand. There's so many stages. And I think, Henry, you and I talked about it the other day. There's talking. I don't know whoever invented talking, throw it away.
That's the pre-stage. Pre-stage. That's the pre-stage.
Yeah, it's pre-dating. Pre-dating.
Be able to talk stuff.
But no, like, what is that? We talking? No, I talk to people all the time. I talk to my boss. I talk to Baz. I talk to Henry. I talk to Lauren all the time. I talk to people all the time. Throw talking out the window, okay? Talking is trash. We're not doing that. Either we are dating with intent, right? We are getting to know each other and whether it works out or not. So there's dating, there's in a relationship. And I feel like they're so interchangeable sometimes. I hear people say like, oh yeah, we're dating. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. Are you dating other people? No, I just told you I'm dating him. I told you in a relationship, right? Like, what you mean? Are you in a relationship or are you dating, right? I think there are stages. You date, you get to know them. You date to get to know, right? To get to know someone, to understand someone. You build a friendship first. So if talking is friendship, then that's anyone that you come in contact with, right? You talk and you build a friendship, right? That's what you want to do. So you build a friendship first, and then you go into, are we a good match, right? And then if we are a good match, is this something I want to pursue? Because you're learning them. You're learning what they're like when they're mad. You're learning what they're like when they're happy. When, trauma or something happens in their life, you're seeing how they react to situations. You're learning about their life, their family, how they treat their family. Then you decide, okay, you're somebody I could date. And then you start getting a little bit more intimate. And now you're moving into the relationship stage. Do I want to bring you into my life and weave you into, the important areas of my life? Sort of like if you have a child. Now I want to bring you into meeting my child and things of that nature. Like now we're in a relationship. But so I think you date with the purpose of, learning someone and getting to know them. Lauren, I know you're married, but you also have daughters, right? So like for you, what is dating to you? What was it to you then when what do you see it as now with your children? And what do you think dating really should be?
Well, first of all,
right.
I'm going to say talking is good. You need to know if the brother can articulate a sentence, like you need to know if there's conversation going on. Talking is good stuff.
Okay. Dating in a relationship though. Like I shouldn't have to tell somebody, no, we're just talking. Like we're getting to know each other.
Okay, so that's kind of like, that's just something that people say, like,
right.
Yeah, I talk to her, like,
right, figure of speech.
But it's a figure of speech. But talking is good.
Okay.
Communication,
right?
Okay, because you can find out a lot in talking, right?
That's true.
That's why I like that stage.
Right.
Right.
So I also think dating comes in different levels, different stages. So it just depends on where you're at in life. So what you're expecting from this date. I don't think, okay, so you say dating, I think it should just be that. It shouldn't go further into a more intimate place because you're dating. You're not just, maybe you're just not seeing this one person, but you're seeing other people. And that doesn't make you promiscuous or whatever.
Right.
It makes you, I'm in a dating stage. Not that you want to be dating 5, 6, 7 guys or whatever.
Real dater.
You don't want to limit yourself or put yourself in a box, you know, because somebody said earlier, women don't like their time wasted. Neither do men.
Right.
But it's all in what you're expecting. For my daughters, don't even get me started. So one is 20, the other one is 17. And this is even new for us. You know, it's just new. You know, I have one daughter that's literally imitating my life when I was her age. And all I hear is, well, you and daddy did that. Well, just like you. Right. I'm gonna do the same thing. And I'm like, no. So, but I'll speak. Can I speak from like a married perspective?
Of course. Mm-hmm.
So, dating in marriage is very important as well. Like being spontaneous and just getting up and going and setting time aside for your spouse, because it's important. It helps to reinvent your relationship over and over again. Today we literally was sitting here having coffee, and it's like a storm outside, and he's like, let's go to Philly and grab a cheesesteak. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. So, you know, that to me, that's dating, and it's spontaneous, and we're constantly getting to know each other in that way. So it's important, and it doesn't have to be, you know, it's nice to have like, you know, get little things or whatever, but it can be a walk. It can be a long walk and talk. Mm-hmm. And
that's a date.
Right. That's a date. Like, you know, let's just go sit outside. Let's go talk. Let's walk. That's a date. It's time spent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love it. I love it. Beautiful. So now that we kind of understand what like we're looking for in dating, you know, the next question is, what are women really looking for in a man? Let's get to the meat and heart of, you know, why we're doing this. So who wants to jump out there and start?
No political answers.
Right. No political answers. Let's tell the truth. Let's get to the raw truth. Like, what are women really looking for in a man? Go ahead, Kaz.
I can see it. Say it.
Just because Lauren was talking about like the long walks and stuff, I think we look for the thoughtfulness in a man, and we talked about this I think in our meet and greet, but we just look for, and I'll speak for myself, right? I look for a man that is thoughtful, whatever that means to him and I is whatever that means, but I look for a man to be thoughtful. So the example I gave before was, and I always say this every time to my significant other, if you are walking down the street and you find the rock and that rock reminds you of me, and you bring that rock home and you tell me, Cass, I thought of you. It was, you know, a certain shape, and it reminded me of that conversation that we had, and I laughed, and I thought of you, and I brought it to you. I'm gonna cherish that rock, and that rock to me is a gift of love. It's a, you know, because he was thoughtful. It's not the rock. It's not the fact that he didn't spend money on it. It's not. Right. I mean, none of that matters to me, but the fact that he was thoughtful.
Right.
I look for a man, and I think women also look for a man that is thoughtful in the sense of like he listens for what she wants. So if a woman communicates, and we talked about this also, if a woman communicates that she likes flowers, right? Does he listen enough to hear she likes flowers and gets her flowers just because? Not because it's Valentine's Day, not because it's her birthday. Not because it's expected of him on a given day, but because he walked past the store and was like, you know what? Those are the flowers that my girl likes. Like, I think I want to get her those today. And just show up with it, right? Thoughtful. It doesn't have to be a bouquet of roses. It can be one rose, but just the thoughtfulness. I think women look for that type of detail in men. Just, it also tells us that they're listening to us. It tells us that they care. So I think we look for some of those aspects in men, but I'll let everyone else, you know, jump in.
Candace, I'll let you go next.
I think we look for men who are attentive to us, men who certainly are capable of providing, because that falls in with it as well, not necessarily has to have a certain amount in the bank, but you are, if something happens to me and I can't work, are you able to provide? Men who are understanding, or rather who will take the time to understand us. So if I do have a bad day, do you care enough to figure out what's going on? Or is it, oh, she just has an attitude, let me leave her alone? So I think those are big ones for me. Attentive. Another big one for me is spending quality time, not us sitting on the couch, both scrolling on our phone, but like time when it is us and we're vibing. And like I said, we're both attentive to each other. Help nurture the relationship.
Now, would you set him straight? Would you help him if he doesn't know that, hey, I want more attention, like you just playing on your phone? Would you guide him, or would you be like, this dude doesn't know, he did it like 10 times, I'm about to get rid of him? You know what I mean? Like, or would you help lead him and give him that,
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Because otherwise all that's going to do is it's going to fester. It's going to fester and fester, and that's going to lead to resentment. So
gotcha.
I think that goes to what we were saying earlier, like you have to be patient with your partner. So if they don't know something, you guide them, or you tell them in a nice way, like, babe, it really bothers me when we're spending quality time and you're scrolling Instagram, but there's a movie in front of us, or we're talking or whatever. And then you want someone that's also going to hear that and say, she does not want me to multitask. She really wants the quality time to be about us, and then actually do it, and not make a mistake again. And you're like, babe, and then like, okay, fine, So I agree with that. I think that's a great point. What about you, Gail? Both of you, I just want to know, is it different when what you're looking for in a man because you both have children, and Candace, because you're at a different stage and like you're divorced and redating? Does that look different for you as well?
Do you want to go ahead?
You go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I think for me, it looks different. Only, I think for guys, because some guys don't want to date, some people, I should say, don't want to date people with kids. So I think you have to, that's something I have to watch out for. And of course, somebody who would, have my daughter's best interests at heart at the end of the day. But that's really the only thing that's different. For me, it's, I would want him to be caring and compassionate and a good listener and somebody who knows how to be unselfish.
Right.
That's super important. And, somebody who's willing to learn me, I think I've been in situations in the past where it felt like they didn't really want me as Gail, they just wanted a person, or they wanted a helpmate, or they wanted a wife, or whatever it was, but it wasn't about me as who I am as Gail. So I think that's, somebody who's willing to dig deep.
Agreed. I think over time, for me, what I wanted in a relationship or in a man has changed. I think I said it on our first panel. I had a laundry list of things. He got to be this, he got to be that, he got to be that, he got to have this, he got to have that. And a lot of it, I couldn't even bring to the table myself, but I wanted him to have it, So, and I think we have to be very careful of that when we are dating and looking for people, when we have this long checklist. Hey, sis, she said, praise when she made it. Hey, girl. So I think for me that changed over time because I think I was very superficial in the things I wanted in a relationship. It wasn't about the person. It wasn't about the core of, hey, Ricky, it wasn't about the core of the person. Like, who are you? And what can you do for me? Like when you're dating, you want someone that's going to compliment you, but help make you better. In character, help make you better, whether in life, in your career, whatever it is, someone that's going to add to you. That's not going to take away. So when I was younger, I wanted all of these, things. But now that I'm getting older, you see like the memes and stuff that say, just send me a man, right? You do want someone that obviously that compliments you. Like for me, I do want a man. I do want a man who's strong. I do want a man who has vision. And I think has said it perfectly on our first panel, someone that has vision. Like if you don't have a vision for yourself, you're not going to have a vision for our relationship. So someone that's ambitious, that has a vision, that has a plan. I want a man that's strong, but I think, like I said earlier, someone that's also vulnerable, and above all, and I should have started with this, someone that loves God. So, you know, you don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to play no keys. You don't got to strike a bass, although I love bass players. The bass child. But look, at the end of the day, you know, you want someone that loves God, and someone that understands you in ministry, and that understands, you know, for me, you know, especially if you're in ministry, you know, you want someone that understands it and that can support you, someone that can pray for your family. You're the head of the family. I need you to be able to pray for the family. You know, you want that. So, and then you want someone that's supportive. You know, I think I was saying to Henry the other day, like, I've never really had someone that was supportive in the relationship. It was, we're together, and it was just us. It was always like we were isolated. You know, it wasn't someone who wanted to be around my family. You got to be a family person, you know, because I'm a family person. You got to love your family. You got to be able to love my family with all their flaws and with all my flaws. And even when you see some of, you know, what you see in my family come out in me, you know, you still got to be able to be understanding and patient, someone that is willing to give grace. I think Ted said it great on our first panel. Someone that's willing to give grace in a relationship. You have to leave space for that. But I want someone that can be supportive, that can be vulnerable, someone that understands who he is, understands the role of a man and the man in a relationship and what his purpose is, and that can lead and guide, whether it's he and I, our family, in the direction that God has for us. So that's what I think for me, and what I'm looking for in a relationship and in a man. And I think sometimes these misconceptions that women want people that, you know, he got to have a nice car, he got to be able to do this, he got to be able to do that for me. It's like, no, we're not. That's a misconception. You know, there are women that are looking for great men that have core values and that care about themselves, care about God, care about you, and care about leading you and caring about supporting you and covering you and protecting you. I need whoever I'm with to be able to cover me, just like I will cover him in prayer, but I'm also going to cover you. If something happens, if you fall, like Lauren was saying, I'm there to pick you back up, and we're going to figure this out together. You know, that's what you're really looking for. Is
it a time frame? Like you mentioned a lot of good things, like you mentioned so many good points, but is it a time frame, and maybe the women can, you know, you guys can answer that. Is it like really quickly, is there a time frame that you would give somebody to like kind of like step up to that plate, Steph? Like, hey, I've been talking to you for a week, a month, and I don't see those things in you. So next guy, is it like a time frame you guys will give somebody to kind of like show you? Because I know men, we may have our own time frame, but what do you guys think, you know, on that side real quick?
I don't think there's a time frame. I think it depends on how you feel about that person and the chemistry that you feel with that person. I think sometimes people might let things that might be red flags to them slide a bit longer if their feelings are strong. So that can be a slippery slope. But, you know, I think people just need to be, at the end of the day, honest with themselves and with the other person, and have courage, because it can be scary to be fully honest. Just have, you know, the courage to be honest. And, you know, keep deciding if you want to keep choosing each other.
Okay.
I don't know if I think there's a time frame. I think in that dating and talking stage that we say, you'll hear, you know, I heard someone say one time, you let someone talk long enough, you'll hear their heart, right? So I think if you let someone talk long enough and you really get to know each other well enough, you'll know if that person possesses the characteristics that you're looking for, has the character of the person that you're looking for. And you'll know in the beginning, or that they have the potential to grow there, because they're still growing, that I have to do as a female, as a Christian, you know, as someone in ministry. They're still growing that I have to do. You know, when I do get married and have kids, they'll be growing that I'll have to do as a mother. I won't know everything, you know, so you want to give them the grace, but at least know that they're on the right track. And these are the things. And I think if we take the time to have those conversations, and I think dating for me is not just going to the movies and having dinner. It's not just, you know, it is those long walks in the park, because I like the simple things, right? So we can have a long walk. I love taking walks. I walk everywhere, you know, but I love taking walks with someone, because that, for me, walking is when I think and pray, right? So, but when I'm with a partner, we're talking, you know, we're not on our phones, we're not texting, you know, we're not just doing you know, things that, and we're not just active, we're actually communicating. We can have those interactive moments, that's great, and when, you know, you build that fun part of your relationship, but I still need to hear your heart. I still need to talk to you, and I still need to be able to understand, you know, get to know who you are. So I think there's a time frame in making a decision if that person is right for you, but not a time frame for you to have all of these checklists, all of these qualities. I think you'll know if they possess that as you go on.
Right, because as you talk and date,
right,
and talk, you'll find out exactly, like, not that you're going to write someone right away, but, like you said, Steph, your list has changed. So your list has changed. So you kind of see things a little different. You know what I mean? So the things that were important before are not necessarily important now. You know, not that you're just going to settle for any and everyone, but you know, everything you ladies said was just so on point. There was no need for me to jump in, because going back to what you said earlier, a man that loves God will definitely love you. And from there, it's like upstream from there. But I think and a few of you said vision. Definitely has to have vision. That where are we going?
Right.
Like,
right.
Definitely got to have some vision going on.
Right.
So those are all really, really good points.
Right. Do you feel that there is like a pressure that comes with being not married now, to those that are not married yet? Does society put pressure on you to not be married and be in a relationship?
I think so. But I've just decided I don't care what society thinks anymore. I think and sometimes I think culture comes into play. I've come from a West Indian family. I think that, you know, there's this pressure for, you know, people to do what their parents did. So for me, I felt that for a long time I had to do that, but it didn't work for me, because it made me unhappy thinking I had to conform to this. I don't like being in a box. So, you know, at the end of the day, I just say, well, I have to figure out what works for me, you know, and I think the same thing would apply to my relationship. What works for us. It may not work for the next, you know, couple, but it works for us. Yeah.
That's good. What about you, Candace and Kaz? Do you feel like there's pressure that comes with being single?
For me,
I think
no.
it depends.
Go
ahead, Candace.
I think if I were younger, yes, but I'm a woman of a certain age. So for me now, no, I don't feel it as much now. I don't.
What about you?
Yeah, so I was gonna say it depends on what society you're looking at, right? If you're looking at the church, if you're dating someone, you're a little bit older, if you're a minister, I think people are looking at you and like, when are you gonna get married, right? If you're not in the church, because I know we have some people here that aren't in the church, if you're not in the church, society really isn't pressuring many people to get married. Yeah. And so I think it just depends on where you come from, your culture, which society are you looking at? Are you comparing it up against? But for me, I am in the church. Yeah, there's definitely a pressure. I get asked all the time, like, when are you guys getting married? And, you know, one of the mothers in the church always stops me and says, you know, I'm getting older and I don't have much time left. You know, I'd love to see your wedding.
Right.
So, you know, there is that slight pressure. I don't let it pressure me, but there is that slight pressure that, you know, if someone else is hearing it and they're not headstrong about where they are in their singleness, then they're going to be like, yeah, I need to find someone quick.
Ricky said, is it the will of God for you to be married? Ricky, hit me back in the comments and let me know. Is that a question? Are you asking or are you making a statement. Tyrese said, it depends if you don't have kids. And DeAndra, who had to hop over, so sorry, her internet connection didn't allow her to stay on, but she's in the comments, and she says she agrees for her being in the church and being a minister. Yes, you're often questioned and pressured into marriage. And I think we talked about that on the first panel too, like when you're, and I know y'all saw my light go down, but I don't know what just happened. Everything's been going crazy today, so I'm sorry, y'all. But I think we do. Oh, it was a statement from Ricky. But I think we do in the church feel the pressure, like, when you're getting married, you out here preaching and doing all this, and you're going to get married anytime soon. Definitely with men, too. I feel like they hear it a lot, or definitely if they're pastoring, you're a pastor, you need to be married. I do feel like for me, I feel pressure not pressure from family, but it's the question that comes like, when you going to get married? Or your friends are like, girl, you need to be married. So, and I don't think people realize that it puts a type of stress or pressure on you where you might not be stressing or thinking about it, although I think about it every day because that's just where I am. But I'm like, Lord, send him everything Jesus. I think sometimes when you hear it repeatedly from the same people, it might put you in a different space and mindset than where you initially were. So now you might start thinking, depending on the person too, like, oh my gosh, should I be married? Like, what is taking so long? Where you might have put it out your mind, but now, or you're just like, when he comes, he comes. It is what it is. But I think people don't realize, especially ones that are married. And my married friends don't do that, but there are some that are around that I wouldn't consider like good friends, but that may ask the questions, and it does become a pressure. And Lauren, you want to say something? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would add to that. Especially my church ladies, be careful because, with that pressure comes your counterfeit. And here it is that you're in the house of God and you ministering and people are like, well, when you getting married? And here he comes, right? Mm-hmm. And you fall for the okie doke because you feel like this is God, but it's a counterfeit. Mm-hmm. You have to be mindful and prayerful that that does not happen to you just because people are pressuring you because they think that this is what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. But what does God want you to do? And just going back to Ricky said, is it the will of God for you to even be married?
Right.
It may not be the will of God.
Right.
No, but did you seek God for those answers?
Absolutely. That's a great point. One of the other things we talked about on the male panel was this checklist, right? So women, do we really have checklists? Men were saying that they have a checklist. They tried to act like their checklist wasn't that long, but it was a long when we started getting into it, and they was going down rabbit holes, child, of these things that they have. So do women have checklists? And I'm going to ask a couple of questions at the same time. Do we have checklists? Is it important to have checklists? And do we feel we compromise on our checklist for lack of options? So wherever you want to jump in on those questions, I want everyone to kind of go there.
I think it depends on.
Go ahead.
I think and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also think that we have to be mindful that this checklist is not a real person. These are things that we've written on a piece of paper that we would like to find in a person. And while there are some things on your checklist that you can compromise on, there are some things that need to be steadfast. Mm-hmm. But I just think that we have to be mindful that checklist is not a real person that exists. Right. Now you get lucky and find someone who hits all your points. And if you do, more power to you, Godspeed. But for most people, you're not going to find someone who hits every point on your list. And we have to realize which things are non-negotiables and which things are just preferences, because there's a difference. Like there has to be a hierarchy on the list. What are you willing to compromise on and what are you not willing to compromise on?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Gail. I think you wanted to jump in there. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think flexibility is important. I mean, I think you should have a list. Like, you should know what you want. You should be clear in your head about what you want. But I think flexibility is important. I think if you're too rigid, you close yourself off from a myriad of possibilities. Like you could be closing yourself off from your soulmate. So, you know, I think people just need to be patient and kind of just, you know, sit back and observe what's happening.
Right. I agree. What about you, Kaz? And what about you, DeAndre? DeAndre's answering from the comments. So she's still participating. Do you have a checklist? You know, I know you're with someone now, but, you know, did you have a checklist before you met him? You know, and did you choose him because of the checklist? And the next question is, do we feel like women compromise because of lack of options with these checklists?
Okay, so I do believe women have checklists. I think we definitely have to be flexible with them because they change over time as you go through different stages in life. So when you're a mom, your checklist is different from when you're single, no kids, you know, completely different. When I started, before I started dating, I definitely had a checklist. And then I took that checklist and I ripped it up because I began to look at that checklist, and then based on that checklist, I started to look at things in my partner that weren't on that checklist, and I magnified that more than the positive things that he did bring to the table. So if I wanted him to, for example, one of them was I want him to be a business owner, right? Something like that, because I'm a business owner and I want someone that understands business with me. So I had to cross that off my list because the man that I'm with now, he's not necessarily a business owner. However, he has the qualities of a business owner. He has the qualities of knowing how to run a business, knowing how to run a ministry, knowing how to run a household, right? He has these qualities, even though he's not what my list says he is. Right. And so I did rip up that list, like I said, because for the beginning of my relationship, I was holding him up to this list, this God, can I just say it like that if he didn't match up to it, I wasn't really happy with him. I wasn't fully happy, and I wasn't fully happy in dating. And so I had to realize that, you know what, God sent me someone really good, and he's not going to be everything in my list, but he does have the core values and the core things that I'm looking for as a woman and what I can see myself in, building a marriage with, building a family with, building a home with, building ministry with. And so because he has those, I chose him over the list. And so.
That's really, really good. And Tiffany wrote, she remembers from the first panel, and you're right, says, when we had both, the guys and the girls together, that the introductory panel, we talked about non-negotiables, preferences, and considerations. That was JD's thing. He probably said it about 50 times during that panel. You got to have your non-negotiables, you got to have your preferences, and you got to know your considerations. And for those that weren't there, we'll break it down really quickly. Your non-negotiable is just that. It's non-negotiable. This is what I need. Like, you have to love the Lord. Period. That is a non-negotiable, right? Then you have something that's a preference. I prefer someone that's 6 feet and older, but the Lord might send me someone that's not. I am praying that he hears the desires of my heart. Over, because that's what I like, and he will do that. And then you have considerations, right? So these are kind of how you break them down, and you don't have to stick to them like Kath was saying. Sometimes you got to rip it up because they might not check off every single box, but the ones that are the most important, the non-negotiables, might be the ones that you really care about the most. As long as, I think we also said, you have to know that what we're putting into these categories have to be realistic. A 6 foot should not be a non-negotiable. It might be for you maybe when you're younger, and that was your younger mindset. And like I said earlier, when I was younger, I thought differently. That was a non-negotiable. Like, if he ain't 6 feet, I'm not thinking about him. Could be why I'm still single now, right? So
that's non-negotiable for me.
But now throw the whole list away and let's start all over again, right? Dee said I have a checklist, but my checklist is open to change because I never want to create, she doesn't want it to be her idol. If you're going to create a checklist, it must also, it's coming, child. We'll tell you what it's going to also have when we get the rest of this comment on here. Because I don't. Yeah.
Lauren's about to say something.
Go ahead.
I was going to say 100%, Steph. Like, let's get rid of the checklist, only because you don't want to put a limitation on what God can do. And you know, you have this, not you per se, but you have this list, and you have these, you know, this. Okay, let's just get rid of the list, right? But in your mental, you should have expectations. We should have some kind of standards and some kind of expectation.
Right.
But it's so detailed down to the very core of things like, oh, you know, he has to be that, he must be that. You are putting yourself in a box. You're putting yourself in a box, and you're limiting what God can actually bring you and bring into your life, because your list could be totally opposite of what God has for you. You told my 6 foot, bro, man might be like 5.
Oh God.
5 foot. So Kent said it good though. Kent said, "Can he just be taller than you?"
Can he? Yeah. He can be taller than me with heels. When I wear,
we know that cliche. Oh, God has a sense of humor, right? Yeah. You talking about 6'4", 6 foot, and just because you keep holding that list with that number on there, let me send her.
Now that was my list when I was younger, you know.
So you grow,
you know, and change. I'm still looking for the Lord.
It's still on her list. It's still on her list.
It's not in my non-negotiable, right? It's in my preference. That is what I pray about when I pray. I will say that. Like when I'm praying, oh Lord, send them whatever the 6 foot man that you got for me, Jesus, where he at. You know, that's in the prayer. 6 foot comes in. But no, in all honesty, it's, you know, it's in my preferences. But Deandra also says the checklist must also be self-reflective, not checking off what you want me to be, but yet you are not none of those things. Right. We can have desires, but I never want my desire to drown out God's will for my life. I think that's amazing.
Right. And absolutely. And if you're gonna have this checklist, right? And some people insist and live by their checklist. Put that checklist up against you. Like, what are you bringing to the table?
Right.
Like, are you marketable? Are you desirable?
Right.
Are you any of those things on your list?
Right. You know? You want to be, you know, you're looking for a husband, but are you a wife, right? Are you wife material? You know, have you done what you needed to do to become a wife? Have you set yourself up, you know, to be a wife? Do you have the mindset of what it means to be a wife? Are you ready to be in a relationship and know that you have to compromise and it's not all about you? You just can't walk out the door when you want to and not say nothing. Or you go on for 3 days and like, your husband's like, where'd you go? Like, you know, what happened? You know, you can't do that. And I think with that, we can segue into really quickly, do we feel like men and women date differently?
Yeah. Men are different than women. Period.
What do you mean by that?
Different than women.
Do we look for different things when we're dating? Do we date like, and we know that, you know, men and women, like, you know, that the saying that men are physical, women are emotional. Ricky, I promise you I adore you, but I can't. Right? I will leave it in the comments for everyone to read. You are related, child. But so I'm gonna leave this in the comments for y'all to read. And I will, and this is for y'all, you know, I'll break it down, I dissect it, and I'll come back and tell people what Ricky was saying. But you know, they say men are physical, women are emotional. Men look for the physicalness of a woman, you know, in women. They're not really looking for, you know, if you got brains. They're only looking for, you know, is she cute, is she thick, and all that. Do we really feel like that's a real thing? Do we think
at the end of the day, okay, so men and women, right? We see first.
Right.
You know, so we could be similar in that way. But when it comes to maybe some of our expectations, I think it's different. I think it's different.
Henry, I want you to jump in this. Jerica, thank you for this amazing comment. And I'm going to read it and dissect it, and I'm going to give it to everyone. I love y'all with these paragraphs. This is blessing my whole soul. I'm going to read them. I'm going to dissect and I'm going to tell everybody what you guys are saying so they can hear it live.
Yeah. So I guess so. So who else?
I want you to hop on. I want you to hop on that, Henry.
Women and men date differently. Well, definitely, I would agree that we're physical. Yeah, we see. I think I said that in the last when I was in the last panel. I mean, I was honest. I said with men, I mean, it's not. I don't speak for every guy, right? But we see first. I mean, it's to say, oh, she looks like she has a nice personality from across the room. It's just like, huh, right? You can't tell that, but obviously you're going to see. And then from there, then it starts. Okay, eventually, let's move on to the how does she think? So yeah, so definitely most of us are physical beings, and women usually they would take a guy who's less attractive, unless I've heard that, but he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Maybe he has all the stuff that he has a provider mentality. He has take care of you, put you first. He has all those attributes you're looking for. But maybe he's not as attractive. Maybe he's 5'4", and Stephanie has to just take it and run with it, right? But I mean that's how it is. Like I think women are where to some guys, not all, would probably say, let me hold out, or she's not really don't look this way. But not all guys are shallow like that.
Deandra said, yes, she feels that men and women date differently according to their upbringing, their past experiences, and their desires. And what and why are you desiring? And I think she meant who are you desiring to date? So I absolutely agree with that. And I'm going to quickly switch this topic over because, I don't want to keep us on for too long. Usually we're here till 11 and we're not going to stay on till 11 today. And Jerica, it's okay. I was reading what you were saying. Jerica was saying, she never had a checklist. She usually just goes with the flow, which is great. She has more in that because it was a paragraph. And she said, oh, at the end, I thought it was funny. She said, oh man, I'm typing too much. I want a new topic. But but it's fine, girl. So in the whole men and women dating differently. So there's a couple of questions that I want to hit real quick before we end this live. Do you feel that women are good at communicating their interests to men? Do you feel, and I'm going to ask a series of questions, we can all hop in here, right? Do you feel it's okay to ask a man out on a date, or do we feel like that will kill the chase? And that's the big thing that's going on. Women, we can do what we want to do. You can ask a man out. But do we feel like we communicate properly? I know I have that problem. I ask Paul Lauren all the time. I'm like, I dropped a hint, girl, and I don't think he get it.
I'm gonna probably speak for most men and say no.
They don't get it. I'm positive this person is not getting the hint, child. But do we feel like we're good at communicating our interests to men? And are we comfortable? And should we be comfortable doing that? Is that okay?
So I think to a certain extent. Oh, go ahead. I think to a certain extent, you have to know, who you're dealing with. But some men like aggressive women, so it just depends. I think, you shouldn't be full steam ahead on everything. But I think, read the person you're dealing with. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking a guy on a date. Go for it. But I wouldn't, ask him on 10 dates and he's like, busy.
But that big ups to you for at least being open to it, though. See, that's good.
Yeah,
good. What about you, Candace? Would you ask someone out on a date? Do you feel like it's okay, or do you feel like that kills the chase for the guy?
For some people, that may be okay. That's not in my personality. I don't see myself approaching a guy and asking him on a date. Me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. As far as women showing their interest, and it also kind of depends. What's your prior relationship? Is this somebody I just see in Target, or is this someone that I've been friends with before and now I want to take it to the next level? There may be flirting and stuff there, right, but I'm definitely not going to approach a stranger and be like, "Hey, that's just not." No, that's just not me.
Bella said, "You don't know my name."
And Tyrese said it too. He said, "You have not because you asked not." Yeah, you can't be afraid. I agree.
Saying, she's hit something that I want to talk about too. She said I have to plan everything because he's not the planner unless it's work related. But that's something we talked about too. It's not for me. I'm really not the person. I'm shocked. First of all, I don't like rejection, right? So if he hits me with the no, I'm not interested, I'm deleting your number. But
That's called pride. Look at that pride. Pride is crushed.
Stephanie, sometimes guys, okay, and this is no shot at Henry or any other guys, but just oblivious to signs. So it's like, you know what? I think if it's and just like Gail said, it's nothing wrong with being, well, some men like aggressive women, but I think if you come on too strong, it's like, ugh. But I think it's okay to say, especially if you have some kind of rapport, not that you're approaching a stranger. Like, come on, like we're not. I don't.
Not target,
but rolling up like,
right.
Like, no, I don't think you do that. But if you're like, say for instance, Stephanie, I'm just gonna use you as an example. Okay, don't kill me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh no.
So say for instance, so you like, you know, you have a rapport with Henry. So say for instance, you like, so Henry, you know, can we go out and get a cup of coffee sometime? You know, like, why would that be weird?
That would be weird for me. I mean, Henry, you cool, and I like
you,
but I would feel for Stephanie. Maybe I still have, you know, as much as I've grown, I still have this part of this fairy tale part of my, you know, like, oh, how did you and Daddy meet? Like, I don't want it to be like, I fought out for coffee.
You gotta put that aside.
With intent panel, I come out for coffee after. Like, that would be, you know, like, but for me, I don't know. Now, I think DeAndre said it good. Like, I'll show interest. I might not directly ask you out for coffee, but I might say like, yo, we should hang out sometime, you know, and either you jump on it or you don't, or, oh, you've never seen this, we should do this, you know, like whatever. I might do stuff like that, but to straight up say, would you like to go out? I don't think I can do that. I don't think it's in me. I still can't do it.
I think that's okay though. Because
Right.
I think it's really based on your preference. Like, I guess for other women it may work, but I'm a little bit more traditional in that sense. Like, you're asking me out. I'll show you interest. I don't mind communicating with you. I'm very vocal, and I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like. And if I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, but if I tell you that I like you, I'm not. That's as much as I go. Like, I'm not telling you, let's go out on a date or let's go out for coffee.
Right.
That's, you know, I guess it's just preference. I'm a little bit more traditional.
Right.
And biblically speaking, it's he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. So let the man find you. Let the man chase you. Let the man ask you out.
Favor from him. I want you to have his favor. But I want to get, Gardenia said she tried it 3 times and all her coaches got married.
I was saying like more so, I totally agree with you, Cassandra. I was saying more so like if you have a rapport with someone, I'm not saying to roll up on anybody, but if you already have that rapport and you guys are like friendly, you know, sometimes guys are like this, like, you know, they just don't
narrow,
blinders on, like, you know, but and then sometimes it's okay to just, I think, my opinion, I just think it's okay to be like, so want to hang out sometimes?
Yeah, I think that like the light part of it, you know, you can do that, but I think to directly act on the date, and Henry, answer this part of it. Do you think that if a girl would ask you out on a date, would that kill your chase for her? Because, you know, we all say, and is that a misconception, right? That men want the chase, right?
I think it's always, you know, the chase is always good in anything you do. You chase after a career and you finally, you know, something you worked hard at and you get it. It's like, oh, that's beautiful. You chased after it. It takes you forever to fix something and now you got it. You're like, oh man, it feels so much better. But I mean, I think it comes a point in time where like, I may not be able to read like what you're saying. Because sometimes women may make you feel, she asked me out. Sometimes women may make you feel like, oh, okay, maybe I have a shot. Like they may make you think that you got a shot, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, do you want to go out? And it's like, no, you my friend. So it's like, so then you don't want to be rejected. I mean, I guess I'm the man, so I should be okay with you saying, no, we friends. Like, you my brother. Why are you asking me out? And I was like, well, I thought you wanted me. But so sometimes it wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't hurt I don't think it would bother me if somebody said, hey, you want to go out? Or, they ask me out. Me personally, I wouldn't take it anything bad, because like I said, what if I didn't know? And now you missed out on an amazing guy. I consider myself, but right, or any guy, right? Any guy should consider himself, right? Sometimes you consider you missed out on an amazing guy because all of a sudden, because your pride was like, oh no, if he it's not traditional, or if I ask him out and he says no, then I'm going to delete him. Like, but what if I just don't know? What if I think that you just want to be my friend? You know what I mean? So
that's really true too. I also think, it depends on how your relationship is. Like, so I always say, if I call you brother, or my brother, if I call you bro, you can fly out of that position. So if I ever say, hey, bro, you can fly right on out, right? Right on if you are my bro, you can switch this any type of way you want to go, right?
You could be bro bae.
Bro bae, okay.
Oh my God.
But that's a good question.
I love this theological conversation that's happening on this thread. So Gardenia asked a great question, right? She said, where do Christian people meet, right? And I think that's one of the questions that we ask all the time. Where do you meet someone? If you want someone that's love the Lord, where do they meet? I'm going to say this because I thought, in the past, like, you got to meet somebody in church, if that's where you're going to meet your spouse. Take the limits off of where you meet someone. You might meet him in Target. You might meet somebody in the supermarket. You might meet someone somewhere. Be cautious in who it is. I always want someone that comes with a resume too. Someone that I can say, a friend knows them or whatever. But that might not be reality. So take the limits off. And Tiffany said ChristianPeopleMeet.com.
I was gonna say that.
I consider it. So, but that's, I think take it off. But go ahead, Lauren. I think you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say to Gardenia, maybe it's in your prayer, like asking the Lord, like, when you pray in the morning, like asking the Lord, like, Lord, open up an opportunity for me to meet someone today with your heart. You know what I mean? Like, I say invite God into every situation, just every situation. Like, you wake up and you say, like, Lord, allow a conversation to spark up today, or allow this opportunity to happen, or bars. I mean, y'all have to, never mind my husband on here.
He entertaining me over here.
That's the thing your husband and Kaz
upstairs very mischievous. But no, I'm just in short, just invite him into every aspect of your life, and especially one of this magnitude, because it's important. It's important.
I agree. I'm gonna hop into the next thing real quick so that we're coming to the close of it. The conversation is getting really good. But on the last panel, in the men's panel, we talked about mixed signals, right? So let's talk about it real quick. What do you feel leads a woman to believe a man is interested in her and a commitment when he's really not? Do you feel like you received mixed signals? And Gail, I want you to jump in this quick first. Let's talk about mixed signals. Do you feel like women get mixed signals from men all the time? Is it us getting it? Like, a lot of times the guy was in the guys panel, they were saying it's our fault, basically. Like, we're not giving you the mixed signal. You pick, and look, Henry's shaking his head. But, they were saying, like, what led you to believe I even liked you like that? Do you feel like we misread it? Or do we feel like the relationship itself might be going in a direction where you really feel like it is a mixed signal?
I think it could be a few different things happening. I think sometimes people give mixed signals because they're unsure about how they feel about the person. And they're not being fully honest. And sometimes people are unsure about what they want, period. So, they might really have feelings for this person, but might not want a commitment. And in today's age of dating, a lot of people, let's face it, are dating without commitment. They're just doing whatever. And it's fine if it works for some people, but a lot of people get caught up and hurt in situations like that. So I think people, it can be a little bit scary, but like, be upfront, kind of say, ask questions. I think sometimes people let a situation ride for too long and don't talk about it. They don't have a conversation. And I'm the kind of person, I don't like to have those conversations, but I've had to learn to have them because it's better for my relationship. So, and I think if you want things to grow, then you're gonna do things to help it grow. You're gonna water it. You're gonna try to have good communication. If you don't know how to have good communication, you can Google it. You can, if you want something to work, you make it work. And if somebody's giving you mixed signals, call them out on it and be like, all right, well, it's not working for me. But sometimes people are they want to be stuck in that limbo. They don't want to know that this person doesn't really like me the way I like them.
Because it's worse. It feels worse, right? To figure that out.
It's hard.
Stay there, right? Yeah.
It's hard. So people, they stuck in that discomfort, that comfortable discomfort. But knowing how a person really feels about you, or at least having conversations, getting to that point. Either we're going in the same direction or we're not.
Right. Deandra said mixed signals will be avoided if communication is put into place. I absolutely agree. What about you, Cass? Do you think, and Candace, do you think that, and I'm gonna ask another question. Do we think that men really give us mixed signals on purpose to try to keep us around?
No, I think sometimes they're oblivious to things. I think a lot of stuff goes over their head. I was just having a conversation with one of my girlfriends about this. Like, the things that we expect men, and it's not because they show a track record of knowing, but we just want them to know certain things. So like, if we communicate something with our body language, or if we do something, or we insinuate something, but we don't flat out say it, we expect men to understand. And many times it'll just go over that man's head. So I think it's very important to just be straightforward. Like, communication is key, but right communication is key. Like, just be straightforward. Talk about what you need to talk about and get it out the way, because men really don't. Like, for example, in a relationship, or even if you're dating or you're married, right, you might expect your man to know that every time you pout like this, you're upset. But he might think you're just bored. He might just think, you were upset at something about work, and it completely went over his head that he said something that might have upset you. And because you expect him to get the signal or to, to understand or get that body language, there's a huge issue there of miscommunication that can potentially get worse. So same thing with like mixed signals. If you expect this man to understand that you're interested in him, but you're not saying it, it's going to go right over his head. He might just call you sis. He might just as his little sis, his big sis.
I'll put the little in front. Oh Lord. Do we think that and on the flip side of that, do you think when you're meeting someone or you're just starting to date and it's not a relationship, that guys can sometimes, and we talked about it in the men's panel, make you think they're interested, but they're really not? Or do you think what they were saying is women, we take it as, we've hung out 4 times. You think, we about to get married.
Oh, we're married. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If we holding hands, we're dating. Like,
because sometimes it's like that.
You might like it, but you just took it to a whole nother level. Like, I mean, like, so, you are all up here talking about, we about to get married. We about to get, and he's like, well, we're just dating. Like, I like, I still need to get to know you. And, but it also depends on your mindset. Where are you looking to go with this? So there's communication again that comes in. You can't just, 4 dates and
right
down the aisle.
Right. You can't assume because we're hanging out that all of a sudden we're together, because we laugh every day. Every time we go to the park, and we, and you get my jokes. get your jokes. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I think we're gonna get married, and then now you're like, why?
We don't have babies.
Right. I mean,
kids look like.
right.
And I think that's sometimes, and I'm not saying all women. I think sometimes that's the the psyche is like,
Yeah.
I think I found him, and it's just like,
Did you? Because you found him 3 months ago too.
you really? Right. And in the meantime, he's like, I like you, but I'm just still trying to get to know you.
Talking.
Process.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you're pissed because you don't want to get married after 4 days.
Right. So, like, ladies, we gotta relax, right? What we're saying is relax and enjoy the process. Dating is a process. Getting to know someone is a process. Yes, you have to take it slow. You know, you have to get to know the person. Now, I'm not saying, and this goes into the next question, you need to talk and date, and get to know forever. So the next question is, how long does it take for you to get to know someone? And how long do you think you should be with someone before you're exclusive? The men were basically saying as long as it takes, but
I'm sorry. I don't want to hold the conversation, but I'm
limiting myself. You're limiting yourself. I've been telling you that for years, girl.
I heard your panel, and I was like, really?
Right.
Okay, but I also saw a comment from someone, and she said 4 seasons. So date them for a year because you need to know how they are in every season. And I'm like, that's clever. But I feel like you get to know a person that way. And then men, you kind of have like this as long as it takes. That's not really fair. That's not really fair. Like, really?
Time tells everything, time.
But you don't want to, Gardini, keep asking, can you date more than one person at one time? Of course, if you're dating, you can date as many people as you like, whatever you feel is best for you. I don't know how productive that is in, getting to know someone, and it depends on what stage of dating, you're in. But yes, you can date multiple people. DeAndre said it's not fair at all. I don't think as women, we should allow ourselves a few things. You're not married in 4 days, right? You just met him. You're not even married to him in a month. He might not be the one in a month, right? And if Ted was here, he'll tell you, he would say, God didn't tell you that I was your spouse. He ain't saying that either, right? Like, relax, So, but at the same time, don't let someone take advantage of your time without knowing what their intent is, right? You're single with intent. You're dating with intent, right? With purpose. So you should know, and you shouldn't be afraid to have that conversation. What are we doing? What is your intention with me? Are you dating other people? Like and I can say that, I was dating someone and we had the conversation and we were dating other people, and that is fine. You're dating, at least we know where the other person is. So now you're not sitting at home like, I'm calling him and he's not answering me. Like, no, he doesn't have to. He might be with someone else, but and he might be, and he has that right, and you can't be mad. But also, don't let someone take advantage of you and have you talking to you for a year, and you cooking dinner, meeting family, you bringing him to your family, you doing all these things, and he's not even acknowledging you as a girlfriend or someone that he has any intentions with. So that's what I think.
Hopefully a mature man wouldn't do that. A real mature man, hopefully he would not put you through all of that. You know what I mean?
Right. Tamisha's asking, this is a good question, says, but do you believe you just know when you meet them? Well, probably because I'm single. So I know.
I don't think so.
I'm going to tell you, when I first met Tyree upstairs, I was like, like, I just thought he just, he's going to get me all in the comments too.
What you mean? You what?
When I first met him, he was just like so arrogant and rude. I was like, ugh, like that was my perception of him. And open dating to, but anyways, that was my perception of him. And then when I got to know him, I'm like, oh, he's not like that at all. Like, he's stalking me, y'all. But once I got to know him, it was like, wow, he's not like that at all. And actually, it's this cocky side that I kind of like. Like, I'm attracted to that. Like, You know, so it was things that that I didn't really like at first, but once I got to know him, I'm like, oh, okay, yes, you know. So that did for me.
Candace,
so you gave it some time. You gave it some time to bake.
I gave it some time.
See,
not years, but you guys kept saying on the last one, time is on your side. No,
yeah, you guys did.
Says
don't let them slide.
Right.
Promise to no man.
Time is not on your side.
Not to say to go get married in 6 months or go get married, not even after a year, but
right.
I don't believe in that. Like, time is on your side. Like,
Candace, what do both of you think?
I think that there's not a set time frame, right, where you say, I don't know, in 3 months we have to be exclusive. But I think you should see progress as your relationship is going. Like, you shouldn't be stagnant. We shouldn't be in month 12 where we were in month 1. Like, there needs to be some process to something, moving forward or going our separate ways. And as far as knowing if that's the one when you meet them, I don't think you can tell that, but you can tell by an initial conversation if that's someone you're interested in even seeing if there's anything there. Right. But I don't think that you can definitely know, okay, yeah, this is the person that I'm going to date and then we're going to eventually get married. I don't think you can tell that right out the gate.
What about you, Gail?
I do think it takes time. I think it depends on the couple, but I think you should know. Like there should kind of be check-ins. Like, okay, you know, what's happening? What are we doing? And I do think that, you know, just like Candace said, we shouldn't be same place in month 12 that we were in month 1. There should be some sort of growth. And it takes time to fully know people. To truly, like, you meet their representative for the first 3 months anyway. So it takes time to really learn. Yeah, it takes, I mean, honestly, I think it really takes years to fully know people. But you're still growing, you're still, you know, vibing together, and it's, people are happy, then, you know, I think you just have to keep the lines of communication open. I think that's important. And, you know, if, you know, people shouldn't stifle what it is they really want. Just say what it is you want.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. I think this has been an awesome panel today. We've covered so much in conversation. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been on the live and who has joined. We're going to hit this one last question. I'm going to go around the room, not for you, Henry, because you gave yours on the last panel. So please, Deanna, hit yours in the comments. What is your advice that you would give to women on dating, that's dating, looking to date, and wanting a committed relationship? What's your last piece of advice for everyone? So let's hit it with that, and then we're going to end this segment of the conversation. So I'm going to go around in the panels in which I see everybody. So Kaz, I'll hit it with you first.
My advice would be enjoy your singleness. Find out what you like to do. Find out what you like in a man, what you like in yourself, what you don't like about yourself. Enjoy your singleness. Date yourself first, and then go out and enjoy some dates and turn down men and say yes to one.
Go ahead, Lauren. What is your advice?
I would just say, just to piggyback off of Cassandra, I think that's important to enjoy your singleness and figure out who you are. You know, I think prayer is the key also, because you just can't be out here just dating everybody, any and everybody, just because, you know, you're single with intent, you know. Right. But I think you know, let that be a lead and a guide for you. And, you know, sometimes in your busyness, there he comes.
Right.
Right. When you're not focused on that, and that's not the thing that you are focused on, and like, oh, I gotta have it. Where's he at? In your busyness, and you're not even paying attention, that's where you'll find him. Well, that's where he'll find you.
Right.
And I just want to say this last thing. I nominate Belle Allen to be on the next panel
Yes, she is great. Her and my sis Tamisha, they are great. There's so many people. Like, don't be surprised if y'all get an inbox from me, Tiffany, all of y'all on here for the next set of panels that I plan on doing, because you ladies have been phenomenal and you've been consistent. Yep, you've been consistent. There's a few of y'all that have been consistent throughout this whole panel from the beginning ones, and we want y'all to, to be on all of them. Lauren, Tori said, "Amen, First Lady." First Lady. Candace, what is your last, saying for women that are dating, wanting to date, that are single with intent and looking? What is your last piece of advice? And then, Gail, I'll let you give yours. And DeAndrea, hit yours in the comments.
I guess mine would be to be patient and don't rush the process, because in your effort to rush it, you're gonna end up possibly with the wrong one who's not meant for you. So just be patient. And it's okay for you to be single. That's okay.
That's great. And Gail?
I echo what each of these ladies have said. I think that's good advice. Enjoy your singleness. Enjoy your sisterhood, your friendships. It's not easy being single for some people. I saw, I don't know if it was a meme or something on Instagram. It's like, when are we gonna have a day for single people? Because we live in a world that's geared towards couples. So I think it's just be easy with yourself, be patient, and don't assume that everything on your list is gonna be who's gonna be the right match for you. Be open.
That is great. Listen, everyone who's on the live, thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you so much for listening to the female perspective. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We hope you got some valuable feedback. We hope that we were able to drop some nuggets with you. We hope that you know that there's value in your being single. We hope that you are single with intent. You know that there's purpose in being single. And we are very excited about your future and what you're going to do and who you're going to be with, and the next steps in your process to the relationship. So for everyone that's been hanging out with us, this is our third panel. We have one more panel coming up. It's the last in this particular series. That's the marriage panel. So we had the co-ed panel, we had the male perspective, we had the female perspective. Now we're looking to be married. So let's get to the married panel. Let's have the married people talk to us. You're gonna have some more fun times with Lauren and Tyree, because they are definitely on our next panel. I have a couple of other tricks up my sleeves with the next couple, groups of people that's gonna be in the panel. It's gonna be an amazing time. And there might be one more pop-up in this series that I haven't told anyone about yet. So you might see them in the next one. One more day that we might just do something kind of special for the singles. But Henry, thank you so much for filling in for Ted tonight. He had something going on. My colorful co-host, who will be back on the next panel with the marriage panel. But Henry, you did an awesome job. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone. Have an amazing night. Remember to follow us everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you want your Single with Intent shirt, drop me a comment, drop me a message. Let me know that you're looking for one. I got you. If you want your Single with Intent face mask, because we're social distancing, we have those for you too. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can, and I will definitely get it for you. So have a wonderful night. Thank you to the panelists, and we'll see you in 1 month. Bye.
All right. See you ladies later.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.